The Carolina Hurricanes are back home tonight to take on the Chicago Blackhawks after their three-game road trip concluded with back-to-back wins against Arizona and Vegas. Find out what the Hurricanes need to do to secure the win tonight against Chicago in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Monday evening. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On NHL to get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Now, the Hurricanes are back home again after their three-game road trip, which saw them take on Dallas, Arizona, and Vegas, respectively. They took the L in Dallas, but got wins against Arizona and Vegas, both of which were very good games for the Hurricanes for the most part. Little things here and there that we will touch on later, but both getting the wins. And over that road trip, the line of Jordan Staal, Jordan Martinook, and Seth Jarvis were cooking big time. They have combined for 11 points over their last three games, being those three games against Dallas, Arizona, and Vegas. So they are playing great hockey right now. Jordan Martinook himself has 8 goals in 2024, which leads the team in the calendar year so far. Martinook is right behind him at 7. So with the way that line is playing right now, I honestly could see them getting a fair amount of ice time tonight. I mean, why wouldn't you? We say that, about goalies, like you ride the hot hand, so we'll see what happens with that tonight. But I definitely could see that line being relied on tonight to just continue doing what they've been doing, not having to go out there be superheroes or anything like that. But just they've been clicking. Things have been going well for them. They're getting the puck luck and all that stuff. It's on their side right now. So I think put them out there, until it isn't working anymore. Yeah, just keep putting them out there and going with it. So I could definitely see them getting a fair amount of ice time tonight. And speaking of that game in Vegas, in which we saw that line record more points, Spencer Martin, he also played in Vegas. I know heading into those back-to-backs, we were kind of thinking, oh, Spencer Martin, he'll get the start in Arizona, and then Pyotr Kochetkov would get it in Vegas, but ended up being the exact opposite of that, of Kochetkov in Arizona and Martin in Vegas, which we're definitely, I know myself, and you can kind of see it online a little bit. Folks were a little nervous about that. Obviously it started when Kochetkov got the start there in Arizona, but yeah, going into that, folks are a little nervous, but he ended up playing really, really well. And it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into the Hurricanes goalie carousel situation thing they got going on. We've talked about that at length, and we'll continue to talk about it until after the trade deadline. It'll be interesting to see how he fits into that. Because again, you got him, you got Kochetkov, Ranta, he'll be back at some point. Freddie Anderson, he was taking reps in practice today, and he was in the starter's crease getting a good amount of shots on him. And so you figure, okay, things are ramping up with him in practice. We'll see what ends up happening there of when he will potentially come back. And then, of course, we've talked a lot about will they or won't they do something at the trade deadline. So, with Martin, yeah, he's making a case for himself. I think, we can't really say a whole heck of a lot about how he fits into it just because he's only played 2 games. But with those 2 games, he got the wins in both of them, and both of them being against a very, very good opponents in Boston and Vegas. So we'll see what happens there. It's gonna be interesting to watch, but I definitely think we need to get some more games in for him to see just exactly what they're gonna do, you know? Um, so, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens there, and, we'll see, what happens, with that later on tonight. We'll, of course, talk about that with the projected lineup later. The penalty kill, has also, been really good for the Hurricanes. That's gonna be key for them to just keep it doing what it's doing, much like that Staal, Martinook, and Jarvis line. Just keep doing what it's doing. Same with the penalty kill. It's absolutely fantastic. So far, or since the start of December, it has been 91 for 99, and that is, equates to 91.9%, which is an NHL best over that time span. They've held teams scoreless in 14 of the last 18 games and allowed only multiple power play goals in one game over their last 35. So penalty killing has definitely been the Hurricanes' strong suit. We already knew that, but it's crazy like when you start like seeing these numbers of like what they're doing right now and what they have been doing over the past however many games. It's crazy to think about. In Vegas, yet again, they held team to being scoreless on the power play. Um, so they are really great on the penalty kill, and that's going to be a very, very tough task for Chicago. Their power play is not good. It is the 32nd ranked in the NHL. So and they're obviously going up against I believe it's overall season number 2 and since December number 1. So it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And that's really going to be somewhere where they really have to assert their dominance, because this game against Chicago, it very well could be a trap game. Chicago is the worst team in the NHL, and yeah, and I've said before that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't go out and win a game, because you could be going into this game thinking, oh, it's them. Okay, let's, go out there and, get it over with and, ultimately, just focus on to the rest of the week for them. But, we've seen that before. I said I brought this up the other day when we were heading into the game against Arizona. I don't remember if it was last season or the season before, where we're playing Arizona at home, or you know at home in Raleigh, and they end up getting shut out for nothing, and it was a really ugly game for the Hurricanes, and that was obviously a game they should have won, and they got their butts kicked, and yeah, that's, kind of why I bring that up. Anything can happen on any given night if you don't, go into that game with the right game plan, right mindset, whatever. Because, you know, Chicago, they're a team, they're obviously very young, still rebuilding and everything. But they would you can't say, you wouldn't wanna if you were on that team, you wouldn't wanna go into, one of the top teams, in the league in their arena and beat them. Obviously, you would. That'd be a good confidence booster for them. Um, much like, that game against Arizona, Arizona's, probably out of it at this point. In terms of the playoffs, they're just there to play spoiler and just continue to grow as a team. They don't have anything to lose, and that could be dangerous. So the Hurricanes, got to be careful about the trap game stuff. And it is going to be a tall task for Chicago to come in and beat them. Like we talked about with the penalty kill, the Hurricanes are also a very, very good team at home. 17-6-4 at home. That's seventh in the NHL. And they've got points in 15 of their last 19 games at home. Obviously, over that last little homestand, I believe it was 4-1-0. They went or something like that. But they obviously play really well at home, and that's going to be a tough task for Chicago. And you know, that doesn't mean, again, the Hurricanes are still going to have to do things right. There are still going to be keys to this game, and we will dive into those right after this quick break. Our sponsor today is Camino Consulting. How would you like to get to know someone better in an hour that you would in a year? Understanding one better prevents small misunderstandings from becoming big ongoing fights. After providing more than 20 years of service to small and mid-sized businesses, helping management groups navigate conflict and onboarding new employees, Camino is offering a digital seminar for families and couples. Did your Valentine's gift of tickets to the game not go over as well as you'd hoped? Get the couples and family online seminar for 25% off for the month of February using the discount code locked on. Again, that is discount code locked on for 25% off the rest of the month at www.caminoconsulting.ca or mention locked on when reaching out for a business seminar and receive the first 5 profiles free. Now, keys to the game tonight, folks. Again, as I mentioned already, not falling victim to the whole trap game scenario. That is honestly the biggest thing here going into that game. Don't fall into that. Chicago, again, they are the worst team in the league, but they have won games this year, as few as they may be. Because that's the biggest thing. You see it constantly throughout sports of a team goes into a game, underestimating their employee or underestimating their opponent, and thinking that easy win, walk in the park, and then come away with a loss. So not falling victim to that is honestly the biggest key for tonight's game. And honestly, the second biggest is with Connor Bedard, now coming back for Chicago after being out with injury. Shutting him down is going to be really important tonight. I mean, that offense pretty much runs through him. So if they can shut him down and limit what he is able to do tonight, that's going to be really important for them. Obviously, the kid has been really, really good when he's been out there. Showing that, I was the number 1 overall pick for a reason. So shutting him down is going to be important. And that's obviously something the Hurricanes are going to be up to the task for. We know how suffocating and tight this defense can play. So not really, yeah, not worried about them not being able to do it. It's going to be again, going back to that trap game mentality. But also, again with that, you're going to have to shut down Bedard. And Chicago is also going to know that this team is so good defensively, and they're going to be trying to shut Bedard down. Try to get some other guys involved there. So that's something the Hurricanes are going to need to be prepared for. Sticking to the Hurricanes game, that's going to be key here. The Hurricanes are the much better team in this game. So if they're able to stick to their game and force Chicago the way that the Hurricanes want Chicago to play, they're really going to be able to control this and be able to come away with a win. That's going to be really something here that I think that they'll be able to. They'll definitely be able to stick to their game tonight, I feel, and I think that's something the Hurricanes are going to know. Like, hey, if we're able to go out there, control things the way we want to, they're going to be all right tonight. And then also, one of the biggest things over that road trip was their play in the neutral zone, getting a bit sloppy and loose. You saw that in every game. Dallas, especially, they had some crucial mistakes there that ended up leading to Dallas goals and Dallas getting that win. Obviously, they got the wins in Vegas and Arizona, but you definitely still saw it in those games of them being a little loose in the neutral zone. So continue to work on that and get that where it needs to be. Because, I said after the Dallas game, I'm not worried about the neutral zone stuff. I do feel they will be able to, get it back where it needs to be and whatnot. But teams can definitely take advantage of that stuff. And a team like Chicago is going to be searching for opportunities in this game to gain an advantage over the Hurricanes in some form of fashion. They're really going to try to take advantage of mistakes like that they have been making in the neutral zone. So if they can do that, they'll be all right. But we do have the lineup out as of recording for tonight. I already mentioned, we are going to be seeing more of Spencer Martin tonight. And that is exactly what we will be seeing, because Pyotr Kochetkov uh is out with illness. So um that's gonna be fun. But looking at the forwards, Svechnikov, Aho, Fast, that's been a fun line to watch. Bunting, Drury, and Natchez, another honestly really fun line. Martinook, Staal, Jarvis, we talked about that a lot. Teravainen, Kokiniemi, and Nason. That's going to be a line that I think is going to be interesting to watch tonight. I definitely feel like Tavo was moved down there to try to get something out of Kokiniemi. He's in long drought right now, 20+ game goal drought. I don't remember what exactly it is. Nason also on a bit of a drought as well. I want to say his is like 12, 13 games, something like that, without a goal for him. But definitely not as bad as Kokiniemi. But I do feel like both of those guys are knocking at the door. And I feel like Teravainen being there on that line with them can definitely help, get things going, because we know just how good Teravainen is at helping create plays and set up guys. Obviously, on the defensive side of things, no changes. Slavenburn, Shea Pesci, Orlov, Chatfield. Boom, done. It ain't broke. Don't fix it. It's great the way it is. Again, starting goaltender is Martin tonight. Looking forward to that again. I think he's going to be a wild card in the goalie carousel for the Hurricanes approaching the trade deadline. So anything we can see from him is going to be fun. I also think this is going to be a good game for him to kind of establish himself as a name to be in that mix, not just another body there on the roster. Because again, Chicago is not a good team. They're the worst in the NHL. So this could really be a game where just he goes out and just has a heck of a game. He's played very well against top tier opponents like Boston and Vegas. Let's go out here and see him just go nuts against a team like Chicago. That's gonna be really fun to watch. And give us some stuff to think and talk about, with all this stuff going on. Now, again, injuries, all the other goalies, Freddie Anderson, he's still out with his blood clotting issue. Appears to be coming back in a good way. Looking forward to that. Pyotr Kochetkov, again, out with illness. probably that stinking bug that's going around Raleigh. But Antti Ranta also out with lower body injury, healthy scratches of D'Angelo and Lemieux. And power play one is looking like it is going to be Aho, Bunting, Jarvis, and Svetch with Brent Burns. On the second one, Drury, Natchez, Nason, Teravainen, and Shea. Jack Drury is also going to be a fun guy to watch as well. He's been doing things very well out there for the Hurricanes. Gosh, what was it in the Vegas game? He had 3 assists? First star of the game, I believe it was. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, puck isn't going in the back of the net for him, so he's just gonna rack up assists like crazy. But it's going to be very fun to watch this game tonight. But the Hurricanes also got full week ahead, and we will dive into that in this week's edition of the Hurricanes forecast right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, it is the midway point of the season, Canes fans, and regardless of where the Canes are at in the current standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and a special daily fantasy hockey because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like here on the Hurricanes, Spencer Martin. He's playing really well right now. He could be a great pickup for you. Could also, go with a guy like Andrei Svechnikov or that Martinook Staal Foss line that's playing really well right now, or whoever else you would want to record more or less their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canes fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code Locked On NHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code Locked On NHL. LOCKEDON NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and location availability. Now, looking at the forecast for the Hurricanes for the week, I love this name, guys. Hurricanes forecast. I can't believe it took me so long to come up with something so simple, but I love it. It's fun. And the Hurricanes, they have 3 games this week, including tonight's one against Chicago. Again, keep wanting to stress, with this game, could definitely be a trap game. The Hurricanes, they got to be on their toes in this game. Should be a win for them, but we'll see what happens tonight. Obviously, they're going to have a little bit of a break during the week as they will not play again until Saturday when the Florida Panthers come to town. This is tonight being the first game of a 3-game homestand. Again, Chicago tonight, Florida on Friday or Saturday, excuse me. And we are going to lump it in since it is on Sunday, but they are playing the Dallas Stars again on Sunday. So they're going to be looking for revenge for that loss just a few days ago. So the Hurricanes definitely a little bit of a weird week. Things spaced out a little weird. Consecutive weekend back-to-backs. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle things over their days off, obviously, practice and everything. Will we get any updates on Ronta? Figured Coach Chekhov will probably be better, come Friday or Saturday. Gosh, I keep thinking that game is on Friday, guys. It'd be interesting to see, how things go there. Freddie Anderson, you figure he'll probably continue to practice and whatnot, but I don't really expect anything there. And then obviously, we got to bring it up. Trade deadline. Is there going to be anything happening there? Again, Spencer Martin. With him starting to really play well, you figure he may get a few more starts, here than what they had been doing. It kind of felt like, oh, they're just, going with Kochetkov. He was a steady hand. And again, nothing wrong with that at all. But, Spencer Martin's like, hey, I'm here too. Seeing how things go there, I definitely feel like, obviously, in a back to back, you're probably going to split them regardless. But it'll be interesting to see how things go with that. It really will be, when it comes to the Florida and Dallas games, to see how those get split up, and how things go there in terms of goaltending. I know a lot of folks seem to really be caught by surprise by the way Martin has been playing, just over these 2 games. Heck, and over the 2 games, Boston and Vegas, I saw a thing earlier today. I believe it was a combined 58 saves in both of those games. So he's played really well for the Hurricanes, and I'm definitely looking forward to watching him tonight and watching him again in either the Florida or Dallas game. It's a very nice surprise. And it's also a nice insurance policy as well. For the Hurricanes, going down the stretch and then heading into the playoffs, to be able to have a guy that, like, you just claimed off of waivers, and he's playing really good hockey for you against really good opponents, because we've seen and also, talking about him playing it good against good opponents, what has been an issue for the Hurricanes in the playoffs, aside from offense, drying up like a dry Thanksgiving turkey, but it's been goaltending. And you got a guy that is, you know, playing really stinking well against really good teams. Obviously, this is just the regular season, but that's something to keep in mind. Going down this last stretch of the season. It's going to be fun, folks. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Looking forward to watching, seeing what Spencer Martin can do again for the Hurricanes. Looking forward to watching that Staal, Martinook, and Jarvis line. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to in this game. Tell me what you're thinking about with Spencer Martin, folks. I want to know what you're thinking. So, let me know on the socials at LO_Hurricanes, or myself at Jared Ellis _96, and the comments down on YouTube as well. Subscribe there as well. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. And as always, let's go Canes.